watching Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde. A 31-member Joint Parliamentary Committee was set up on 9th August this year to review the Waqf Amendment Bill 2024. The committee, with 21 members from the Lok Sabha and 10 from the Rajya Sabha, is deliberating on a piece of legislation that aims to bring in reforms, introduce digitization, stricter audits, transparency and legal mechanisms to reclaim illegally occupied properties across the country. But in the last fortnight, every time the JPC has met, there seems to be fireworks. These meetings have been marred by walkouts, by verbal squabbles, even ugly clashes, bottles being broken. On most days, the JPC has reconvened and business has gone on as usual, but these disruptions have raised some questions. Opposition MPs have accused the JPC chairman of bias. This despite the fact that they have held consultations across the country with multiple organizations and its stakeholders, and that process is going to continue well into the next month as well, ahead of the next session of the parliament, which is the winter session. So here's how it all panned out over the last 2 weeks as far as the JPC on the Waqf bill is concerned. It started with walkout and boycott of the meeting on the 14th of October this year. The reason why the opposition did that is because they didn't want the Anwar Manipari reports to be presented in this particular JPC. They said there was no relevance. There were also conversations about Mallikarjun Kharge's name in that report. That was something that the Congress members of parliament, part of this JPC, objected to. The day after that, on the 15th of October, opposition members of parliament again walked out. They accused the BJP of misconduct. BJP MPs used derogatory language against us is what many of them alleged, which is why they walked right out. 22nd October is perhaps the day where the worst scenes were seen as far as this JPC meeting goes. TMC's Kalyan Banerjee broke a glass bottle. Today he came out and justified that as well. There was a heated exchange between BJP's Abhijit Gangopadhyay and TMC's Kalyan Banerjee. A bottle was then smashed on the table as a sign of protest, and we saw Kalyan Banerjee then walk out with bandages on 2 of his fingers. On 28th of October, which is yesterday, there was drama once again at this JPC meeting. Opposition members of parliament objected to certain judges testifying before this panel. They walked out, and during that walkout, there was some heckling that took place of certain judges as well. These judges were accused of bias by opposition members of parliament, specifically Justice Dhingra. Their stance was questioned. Why their opinion was being taken at all was also a question that was raised by some of these MPs. Today, once again, there were war of words between BJP and opposition MPs when the meeting convened. The reason for that was that there were Waqf Board representatives from different states, including Delhi, that were to make their case in front of the JPC today. When the Delhi Waqf Board report was presented, there were allegations that were made that it was done so without the Chief Minister's approval. There, again, it was said that the CM's approval is not required. The LG had approved that, and there were fireworks once again. Now, these deliberations come at a time when there are multiple instances of excesses or alleged excesses by Waqf boards that have come to the fore from across the country. At least 5 such allegations of land grab by the Waqf board have been made since August this year itself. In August 2024 this year, an entire village in Govindpur, Bihar was declared as Waqf property, which was done unilaterally, is the allegation. In September, the Waqf claimed ownership of 6 Hindu temples in Delhi, and there was huge furor over that. September this year again, Waqf Board claims 200 properties as their own here in the national capital. Now come to this month in October, which is just about to end. The Waqf Board in Gujarat claimed ownership of 31 civic body properties in Ahmedabad, only for the civic body to realize that this was government property. The most recent instance, of course, is what's happening in Karnataka. Waqf Board has claimed farmers' land in Karnataka's Vijayapura. There was a hue and cry which was exposed right here on CNN News 18 for you. There was pressure on the Congress government in Karnataka. So mutations that were done to land records have been cancelled. Today, the Chief Minister has come out and made a U-turn as well, saying that no land of any farmer is going to be taken because there was pressure that was mounting on the state government for over allegations of being complicit with this agenda that the Waqf was trying to put forth. So while we see all of these instances coming to the fore, and while we see a showdown take place inside the JPC meetings, which are meant to deliberate on a law that is expected to stop exactly this, the question we want to ask on Plain Speak is this merely an attempt to derail reform then?
का लेटर किसी ने हमको भेजा तो वो हमारी कोई प्रोसीडिंग का पार्ट नहीं है। अब उस लेटर को कोई लीक कर रहा तो उससे हमें कोई मतलब नहीं।
अभिजीत गंगोपाध्याय बहुत पर्सनल कमेंट्स मेरा बारे में बोल दिया। आई डिड नॉट हैव एनी इंटेंशन टू थ्रो द बॉटल एट ऑल टू द चेयरमैन।
Let's open this up. Pradeep Bhandari, national spokesperson of the BJP, is with us. Adil Hassan, national spokesperson of the AIMIM. Tausif Khan, advocate and a political analyst. Sanjay Rana, political analyst, with us as well. Adil Hassan, let me begin by asking you, why do you think we're seeing these disruptions in the JPC? These meetings are meant to deliberate on what changes can be made to this law that is being deliberated upon. But if all we see is walkouts from the opposition ranks, then are we going to have anything productive come out of it?
मैम, सबसे पहले पूछना चाहते हैं, अमित शाह जी ने किस बुनियाद पे बोला था कि मैं लोकसभा में विंटर सेशन में पास करा दूंगा, जब चेयरमैन हैं जगदम्बिका पाल साहब, एक्स चीफ मिनिस्टर रहे, अमित शाह से ज्यादा सीनियर पॉलिटिशियन है। लेट हिम डिसाइड हु इज अमित शाह टू इंटरफेयर इन पार्लियामेंट प्रोसीडिंग। ही इज द होम मिनिस्टर ऑफ द कंट्री, ही डोंट हैव एनी राइट टू इंटरफेयर इन पार्लियामेंट प्रोसीडिंग। आप होम मिनिस्ट्री का काम कीजिए ना, आप क्यों ये बीच में पढ़ के आपने प्रेस बयान दे दिया? और अभी बिहार में, झारखंड में, बंगाल में वक्फ की इतनी प्रॉपर्टीज अभी तक जेपीसी की कमेटी नहीं गई है। लेट जेपीसी कमिटी कम टू बिहार, झारखंड एंड बंगाल। और आपने अभी गोविंदपुर विलेज की बात की। बिहार में जो वक्फ बोर्ड के चेयरमैन है वो जेडीयू के हैं। जेडीयू इज अ नेचुरल अलाई ऑफ बीजेपी एंड ही इज फ्रॉम लास्ट 15-18 इयर्स ही इज चेयरमैन। और वो आपको मैं बता दूं, बिहार में एक बिस्पी है, वहां पर बीजेपी का एमएलए वक्फ बोर्ड की जमीन पर स्कूल नहीं बनने दे रहा है। संजय झा जो बीजेपी के जेडीयू के वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट है, वो एक कब्रिस्तान पर स्कूल बनवा रहे थे, उस पर विरोध हुआ।
तो देन मोर रीजन फॉर सच अ लॉ टू कम ना सर।
यस मैम,
फिर दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो जाएगा सारे केसेस में, शायद वो भाजपा के हो या जदयू के हो या किसी के भी हो।
मैम कुछ दिन मैम, ये जेपीसी वक्फ बोर्ड बहुत सेंसिटिव इशू है, लाखों करोड़ों की संपत्ति है। ये बार बार एक 15 दिन और 20 दिन में नहीं होता है। लेट ऑनरेबल चेयरमैन जगदम्बिका पाल एंड ऑल द ऑनरेबल मेंबर डिसाइड। डोंट आस्क मिस्टर अमित शाह टू डिक्टेट हिज टर्म्स ऑन जेपीसी। Amit Shah is the home minister of the country. He is not the chairman of JPC.
Sure,
ask him to
but
follow
Amit
the
Shah is not a
parliament
part of the
procedure.
JPC in which
Ask
there
him
are
to follow
bottles
the
being
parliament
broken,
procedure.
in which opposition MPs are walking out. Like you said, 15 दिन की बात नहीं है, 15 दिन में डिसाइड नहीं हो सकता, बट 15 दिन में अगर 10 दिन वॉकआउट होने लग जाए।
आप और बता दूं मैम, इस देश में जो दिग्भ्रमित किया जा रहा है, कर्नाटक, ये तमिलनाडु, आंध्रा, तेलंगाना, उड़ीसा में हिंदू एंडोमेंट बोर्ड के पास वक्फ बोर्ड 12 लाख एकड़ लगभग जमीन है। ये देश में कोई नहीं बताया जा रहा है। वक्फ बोर्ड का जो ट्रिब्यूनल है, उसका चेयरमैन चीफ जस्टिस बहाल करते हैं, ये कोई नहीं बना रहा है। वक्फ बोर्ड का जो सीईओ है, वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का ज्वाइंट सेक्रेटरी रैंक का ऑफिसर है, वो कोई नहीं बता रहा है। आगा खान ऑर्फनेज की जमीन देश के सबसे बड़े उद्योगपति कब्जा किए हुए, ये कोई नहीं बता रहा है। और जो रिग्रेस इम्प्रिजमेंट को खत्म करके सिंपल इम्प्रिजमेंट लाया जा रहा है, ये बीजेपी की साजिश है। बीजेपी की संपत्ति नहीं, अदानी अंबानी की संपत्ति नहीं है मैम, ये हमारे बाप दादा की संपत्ति। हम जैसे चाहेंगे हम इसकी इबादत करेंगे। अमित शाह जी को बोलिए कि पार्लियामेंट का प्रोसीजर
आई एम ग्लैड आपने कहा हमारे बाप दादा की जमीन है, क्योंकि बहुत सारी जमीनें आपके बाप दादा की नहीं है। That is exactly the problem कि वक्फ बोर्ड क्लेम करता है कि
जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया है।
नहीं,
आप चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया हैं,
बट लैंड रिकॉर्ड्स हैं उन लोगों के पास जिनकी जमीन आप कह रहे हैं आपके बाप दादा की है।
Ma'am, let Honorable Supreme Court of India, let the Waqf Board Tribunal, let the Honorable High Court Chief Justice decide. Please don't decide on the studio.
I am not deciding the studio at all. But if I don't have the right to decide, neither do you or the Waqf Board. That's exactly the point we're trying to make.
It is your allegation. Let the Honorable Chief Justice of the country decide. Let the Honorable Supreme Court decide.
Sure, let the laws in this country and the judiciary in this country decide that.
I request you to please ask Mr. Amit Shah, Home Minister of the country, to don't interfere in JPC.
Sure.
Ask him to follow BSF पर ध्यान दे, घुसपैठ हो रहा है उस पर ध्यान दे।
Sure. So Pradeep Bhandari, the fact that Union Home Minister Amit Shah, even while a JPC is deliberating this, came out and said that we will pass this in the next session, that seems to be putting the focus on the fact that maybe the BJP's intentions are not right. JPC to kar diya because it didn't have a choice, because that's where the parliament decided to take it. But you're trying to influence the JPC by comments like this. Is an allegation not just the AIMIM but several others within the opposition make against you.
Well, Poonam, if Asaduddin Owaisi can make public statements on JPC, then I believe everybody has the constitutional right under 19(1)(a) to express their opinion on the Waqf Act.
Owaisi Sahib is a member of Honorable. He is not.
Adil Hassan, let him finish, please. He didn't interrupt you. Let him finish. Let him finish, Adil Hassan. I'll give you your time to rebut him.
Okay, ma'am.
So, yeah. Number one, that is point number one. Point number two, Poonam, he said कि हमारी बाप दादा की ज़मीन है. I very well remember that on the Parliament of India, there were individuals and people who were claiming that the Parliament of India is the Waqf land. So if I take Mr. Hassan's argument forward, he will say, भाई Parliament भी हमारे बाप दादा की है. So he wants the sovereignty of this country to be leased and given to a body like Waqf. This is anti-constitutional, that is anti-democracy. We are not living in an Islamic republic. We are living in a constitutional democracy. Waqf cannot supersede the parliament. And I will tell you, Baap Dada ki baat hi nahi. This is purely appeasement politics. This is the amendment to the Waqf Act which the Congress party did in 2013. In 2013, the Congress party amended the act saying that earlier it was that the dedication in Waqf could happen with permanent dedication by a person professing Islam. It was changed to permanent dedication by any person. This is why just one day before the Model Code of Conduct, Congress party gifted 100 prime properties of Delhi to the Waqf because it essentially changed the secular character of Waqf and made it an appeasing character. Now your channel yourself reported, and your channel reported how the land of the farmers was taken and snatched and was attempted to be given to Waqf without giving any hearing to the farmers. Now what is the principle of criminal law in this country? The principle of criminal law in this country is suppose that if any individual says that this property belongs to that individual, it has to be the responsibility of the individual to prove that that property belongs to it. In the case of Waqf, it is the other way around, which means that Waqf tomorrow Poonam, if the Waqf says that a new studio belongs to Waqf, it is a new studio which has to prove that the Waqf is wrong, rather than the Waqf proving that the new studio is wrong. So they have changed the essential characteristic of the constitutional law in order to appease the vote bank. And now my argument and final argument is, I do not take the AIMM seriously because Poonam, for 6 months when the CA was implemented, Asaduddin Owaisi said that Musalmano ki citizenship chale jayegi. Please, if he can name me one Muslim whose citizenship has been taken because now citizenship has started to be given through CA, whose citizenship has been taken because of CA, I will take all his arguments seriously. Otherwise, it is nothing but another attempt for him to consolidate his vote bank in old Hyderabad. That's it, nothing else.
Sure. Adil Hassan, 30 seconds for you to rebut before I get in the other two gentlemen as well.
Ma'am, I also don't take BJP seriously. BJP के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष ने रक्षा दलाली किए थे, बंगारू लक्ष्मण जाके जिन्ना के बाजार पे अडवाणी फातिया पढ़ने गए थे. आज अजीत डोभाल अजहर मसूद को जाकर छोड़ने गए थे.
किसको सीरियसली लेती है नहीं लेती, AIMM किसको सीरियसली लेते हैं, is not the object of conversation here.
I don't want certificate from BJP. I do not need any certificate.
Sure.
My concern is that अगर बीजेपी ये बताए ये अगर कोई भी डिस्प्यूट है जमीन का, सर्वोच्च न्यायालय है और वक्फ बोर्ड का सीईओ बार-बार बोल रहे हैं ज्वाइंट सेक्रेटरी रैंक का ऑफिसर होता है, वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का रूल रेगुलेशन फॉलो करता है. एक ऑफिसर जो है वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के अधीनस्थ होते हैं और उसका जो ट्रिब्यूनल का चेयरमैन वो चीफ जस्टिस बहाल करते हैं. और बीजेपी से पूछिए जब लेट मी स्पीक अगेन, ही इज इंटरप्टिंग. मैडम, ये वक्फ बोर्ड की जो संपत्ति है वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा वंस इज वक्फ, वंस ए वक्फ, ऑलवेज ए वक्फ. मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं वक्फ इज नॉट
lie. Poonam lie.
Sir, I don't think the Supreme Court has said this.
No.
No, let's not try and
mislead.
It is written in the judgment, ma'am.
He's lying on the show.
He don't know, Mr. Bhandari.
No, tell him to quote it. Tell him to quote it. Tell him to quote the judgment if the Supreme Court has said once a waqf, always a waqf. He's lying.
I am not here to answer you, Mr. Bhandari. I am not here to answer you.
Quote the judgment. How can he lie on the Supreme Court?
रक्षा दलाली
बीजेपी का
चलो यार जाओ.
When has the Supreme Court? अरे भैया पढ़ के आओ यार, तुमको रक्षा दलाली बात करनी है. When has the Supreme Court said? See, Poonam, what is this level of debate? He's acting as a Sarabcha Gunda who comes on debate.
Okay, let's not take personal pot shots at anyone, please. Okay, let's not take personal pot shots at anyone, and let me get in the other two gentlemen as well. Okay. And I make this request to every single person on this panel, please. Let's not take personal pot shots at anyone. It does not help the cause of this debate or the cause of the issue that we're discussing at hand. But Tausif Khan, let me get you in on that.
If look at the 1970 and 1980, how many lands they were? It's 3 lakhs hectare only. Right now, if you look at, it's reaching somewhere around 8.5 to 9 lakhs. So how it's become a 9 lakhs? Who has distributed? Who has given? Who has donated? The question mark is there. He has been asking about the Ambani's the mention. If you look at my mention is there, if I'm selling to someone else, or whether I'm selling or not selling it, passing to somebody else, obviously owner is passing to third person. The problem here in this whole debate and Waqf is absolutely encroaching others' property. They are, if you look at the incidence of Tiruchula, Tamil Nadu is almost 15-year-old temple, and Waqf is claiming the temple belongs to them. If you have given a multiple examples where Waqf is claiming there's
his own cassette,
and they do not have any documentation. Obviously, Waqf Board established in 1954 and it became an act in 1956. But after that, you need to provide all the documents. If what exactly they have done in 2013. Obviously, they have changed the nature of the act. We're changing the nature of the act.
You, Sanjay Rana, they have to ask you.
Sir, what do you want to ask?
They have to approach you for the legalization
no,
of documents.
1 minute. If you are
the Honorable Supreme Court, you are the judge.
You're taking my land, and I do not have a right to go.
You don't know any background of the
How
law.
did it become
I
your
have to
land?
approach
You
somebody
don't
else.
know anything
for the
ABCD
Our
of the law.
money.
Why should I
Our
approach
money
the court?
purchased land.
I'm living in a constitutional country, democratic country,
You don't know anything
run
about
by
the
the
law.
Constitution and the
Better you
law
avoid coming on
is
the
there.
TV on the
Law of land is
Okay,
there.
let's not make
I have to
personal
approach
comments
the court.
against anyone.
Why
Adil
should I
Hassan, this is the
approach you?
request I made right at the beginning as well. Please, let's refrain from making personal comments about anybody on the panel.
No, ma'am, he's talking
Yeah,
about
Sanjay Rana,
I would like to
a lot of other people may not agree with what you are saying, Adil Hassan, but you had your time to speak. No, let him also speak. He's entitled to have his opinion. We live in a
30
democracy.
seconds, ma'am. 30 seconds, please.
Allow
30
30
seconds.
seconds. Yeah.
Go ahead, 30 seconds.
मैम एकदम सरल भाषा में आपको बताना चाह रहा हूँ, वक्फ बोर्ड के पास पहले रजिस्टर्ड नहीं थी। वक्फ बोर्ड ने केंद्र सरकार के दिशा निर्देश पे कहा कि जितनी भी जमीनें हैं जो वक्फ की है उसको रजिस्टर्ड किया जाए, इसलिए 3 लाख एकड़ से आज 9 लाख एकड़ हो गए।
Waqf become an act? Can you ask when Waqf become
Sir,
act?
I just 30 seconds. I
1954,
requested for 30
Mr. AIM.
Let him finish, Sanjay Rana. Sanjay Rana, I gave him 30
1954.
seconds. Let him finish. I'll give you your 30 seconds after that. Let him finish, please.
मैम, वक्फ बोर्ड सरकार ने ये फरमान जारी किया कि जो भी वक्फ की जमीन है उसको रजिस्टर्ड कराया जाए। वक्फ बोर्ड के जो चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर होते हैं वो ज्वाइंट सेक्रेटरी रैंक के ऑफिसर होते हैं स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के, और पूरी मशीनरी जो होती है वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के अधीनस्थ होती है। वो कोई आम शरिया कोर्ट नहीं है, वो संविधान और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का अधीनस्थ है। और वंस ए वक्फ ऑलवेज ए वक्फ पर मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ मैम, सैयद अली वर्सेस आंध्र प्रदेश वक्फ बोर्ड में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा 28 जनवरी को, AAM अली अकबर वर्सेस केलनकिरी साउथ स्ट्रीट जामा मस्जिद 30 अप्रैल को कहा, द सेटलमेंट ऑफिसर वर्सेस रहमतुल्लाह मुर्गा दुर्गा 23 अगस्त 2018 को सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा, कल्याण राव वर्सेस कर्नाटका वक्फ स्टेट उसमें भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट और कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट ने कहा वंस ए वक्फ ऑलवेज ए वक्फ। मोहम्मद मंसूर वर्सेस स्टेट बिहार स्टेट सुन्नी वक्फ बोर्ड उसमें भी पटना हाई कोर्ट ने कहा वंस ए वक्फ ऑलवेज ए वक्फ। तो ये सरकार नहीं, आदिल हसन नहीं कर रहा है, MIM नहीं कर रहा है, देश का सर्वोच्च न्यायालय, देश का हाई कोर्ट कह रहा है। मैं तो प्रदीप बनर्जी को लिस्ट में फेंक दूंगा, उनको बोलिए कि मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ, सर्वोच्च न्यायालय और देश का हाई कोर्ट कह रहा है।
Sanjay Rana, your 30 seconds before I get in Pradeep Bhandari.
Yes. I'll take 30 seconds. Okay. Adil has categorically mentioned that central government has given a notification to notify and submit all the documents to the government, and it will notify become a work property. I'm asking very simple question. What notification has been issued? Is issued by the Bharatiya Janata Party or Bharatiya Janata Party and Modi government? No. When it was issued, you don't know the facts of facts and just talking on the debate. Number one. Number two, when you're referring all these cases, hang on.
It's in the act.
When you're referring all these cases, I'm coming to the point. Whenever referring all these cases, the Honorable High Court and Honorable Supreme Court never made this kind of statement. High Court and Supreme Court will not make such kind of statement that once a waqf is always a waqf. Cannot be. It's your statement. It's AIM's statement. Please go and refer what the judgment.
I will submit to all details.
Okay, let's bring this. Okay, let me bring this back. Let me bring this back to the question that we were asking at hand. This is exactly the point I was trying to make. There are objections that are being raised. There are suggestions that are being made. There are outright rejections that are being made about this bill as well. That's exactly why this JPC is deliberating that. But if all we see is disruptions in that JPC, then what is the point of that JPC? Tausif Rana, 30 seconds, please.
Poonam, people like Mr. Rana comes on your show who has zero knowledge about the law and is giving gyan on law. He is questioned, which notification? Baba, it is provided in the Act, Waqf Act. Go and read. He does not
Baba,
even
which
understand the
Waqf Act you
concept of
talking
law.
about?
And he's coming
1954
and
Act
blabbering on
or
your TV
2013
and
Act? Be
spreading
specific.
misinformation to your
Be
viewers.
specific. Congress
must-
to state
you
the
see-
law
No,
in
no.
2013.
Again shouting over
been
me. Please do not
modified.
shout
It's been
over me.
Okay.
twisted. It's
Okay,
not-
Sanjay,
Please
okay,
do not
Sanjay
shout
Rana,
over me.
please. I give
Don't
you a
do
30
not
seconds.
shout
Let him
over me.
finish.
The law.
I don't have much time left on
Don't
this. Let's
teach
keep
me
this
the
civil.
law.
Sanjay Rana, please. I request you. Otherwise, I'll lower your fader. Sanjay Rana, please.
One-sided government approach.
Can we please lower Sanjay Rana's
Secondly-
fader? Tausif Khan, go ahead.
Secondly, Mr. Rana was saying that the
Poonam.
number of land registered with the Waqf Board 1 decade ago has increased now, because this is an ongoing process. It will keep on increasing. The more and more Muslim wealthy people dedicate their land for Waqf, it will be brought on record, and the land registered with Waqf Board will increase in coming days. If it is 10 lakh acre now, it may
But
go
that
to 12
increase is
lakh acres.
disproportionate is the allegation.
No, it cannot be disproportionate. Waqf Board, as Adil Hassan was saying, is run by the state government machinery. And unless they do a fact check, unless they do their due diligence, which is all provided in the Central Act, they will not bring any property under the under the purview of the Waqf Board.
But there are procedural lapses. Due diligence is
allow me
not
1
being
minute,
done
please.
as admitted by a Congress government in Karnataka. The minister yesterday came out and said there were procedural lapses, which is why Waqf Board claimed
Yes.
these. So which means due diligence is not being done, which is exactly why such a law or
You are
registration is
right.
being mulled over.
In one case, in particularly this one case where several acres of land was erroneously mentioned in one of the notification, which the Karnataka government clarified.
Not just a
later. The
notification,
minister
there were
said-
mutations done in the RTC as well.
Well, maybe based on the notification, but the minister himself clarified that these will not fall under the purview of the Waqf land, and these will be omitted. It's a mere omission.
So
An
that omission
inadvertent
and that
error.
procedural lapse can happen
But-
everywhere
but
else as
that
well.
does not- that-
Why should that
still
not be
that
open
does
to
not-
investigation?
No. Still, that does not give right for anyone with a Shakha education to come and vilify the entire Waqf Act.
Tausif Khan, I'm
entire
sorry that
Waqf
same
Act is a
allegation can be made
mechanism.
against you as well. But
It's a
Pradeep Bhandari, last 30 seconds
Waqf
before I
Act
wrap
is
this
a
up.
mechanism to protect the Waqf
Sure.
land.
Sure.
It's a
Poonam, allow me an
Sure,
uninterrupted
yes,
1 minute.
yes.
They've been speaking
Pradeep-
since 20 minutes.
Yes,
Poonam.
Pradeep Bhandari.
Thank you.
Last word to you before I wrap this up. Go ahead.
Poonam, the section 40 of the Waqf Act says that any Waqf can claim on any property. The Supreme Court in none of its judgment passed a judgment or an order saying that once a Waqf, always a Waqf.
Yes.
The Congress party amending the
Supreme
Waqf
Court
Act
also
got in
never
a section
said that
40
Amit Shah
where
is
it
a
means
Tarifar,
that
but
any
he was
property...
Tarifar.
Yeah, come on, yaar. This is
Yeah,
not the
Adil
way the
Hassan, let
debate
him
happens,
finish,
Poonam. I
please.
can't even have an
Adil
uninterrupted
Hassan,
20
please,
seconds.
let him
yaar.
finish. Like I said, I don't have much time left. Let him finish, please. Go ahead, Pradeep Bhandari.
See, Poonam, the section 40 of the Waqf Act suggests that if a property is once a Waqf, it's always a Waqf. This right is not for a Hindu or any other religion. There is no Sanatan board. Point number 1. The Supreme Court has not passed a single judgment which says that once a Waqf, always a Waqf. It has interpreted section 40, which was got by the Congress government in 2013. So he's saying that the Supreme Court has said he's lying on the teeth. And now point number 2, Poonam, my question is simple. What is the principle of natural justice? The principle of natural justice is if somebody claims on my property, it is the person who's claiming, he has to prove it. In the case of Waqf, the Waqf basically can claim on any property,
But the
and it is
argument
rather than the
Pradeep they
Waqf
make
proving
is
that
that
it
it was
belongs to them,
always Waqf
it is the individual who
property.
is claiming.
That Waqf is not the encroacher here. Waqf's land has
So,
been encroached.
if I take that, so Poonam, with that argument, even Parliament they will say it is always there. With
Which
that
they
argument,
have.
even a 1500-year temple they will say. With that argument, they will say that. So we are not an Islamic republic. We are a constitutional republic. We have to go by the Constitution of India. The Constitution never had a Waqf Act. It was Mr. Nehru who got it in 1954 because of appeasement politics, and it is the Congress party which got it in 2013 in order to appease the Congress. It will go against the basic structure doctrine. This is why we are going and amending it. For 70 years, you did not have a CA Act. We got a CA Act because that is what was the promise of the Constitution makers. The promise of the Constitution makers was not to get the Waqf Act.
Sure.
They're lying in on your show. They're
And-
saying that the CA, for 6 months, they could not even prove that one Muslim had a citizenship is gone on CA.
Sure.
They're lying on your show. The Supreme Court has never said that Waqf, once a
the
Waqf,
country
always a
being
Waqf.
misled is an
They are going
allegation
against
that
the
flies
secular
from
principle
both
of the
sides.
Constitution of
But
India.
the fact of the matter is whether this legislation is required, whether it will come or not, what the nitty-gritties of that are, that is exactly what the JPC is deliberating upon. The least the members of parliament of that JPC can do is have an honest and open discussion to ensure that there is not one person in this country that's misled. On that note, I have to leave it there. I thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here on this edition. A quick break, but on the other side, we'll get to the big fight coming in between the BJP and the TMC specifically after Prime Minister Modi targeted the Bengal government, also the Delhi government, over non-implementation of the Ayushman Bharat scheme.